And welcome back, folks. This is US Home Talk, and we are live every Wednesday at noon. We appreciate you guys tuning in, whether it's live or whether it's another time during the week. Jason Walgrave here with Mike Overson and Marcus Walgrave. He may be joining us a little bit later in the show. We appreciate everyone tuning in. We've moved over to this new podcasting streaming only venue. So we're on Facebook and YouTube Live every Wednesday at noon. But you can also catch us anytime by watching our past shows. And we do appreciate however you're tuning in. We got a big show planned this morning. Why hasn't my house sold? That is a question that many sellers are asking themselves in this seller heavy market. Your house is still on the market. It hasn't sold. Why? Why not? Why hasn't it sold? So we'll be talking about that. Good to have Mortgage Mike Overson back in studio, Illuminate Home Loans. Mike, your annual fishing extravaganza was last week and weekend. How did you fare?
Well, no frostbite, so that was good. Fishing was a little slow, so for those of you who know anything about Minnesota, Lake of the Woods is where I go. It's right on the Canada border, way up there in northern Minnesota. It was, we hit 22 below zero ambient temperature for the coldest and about 45 below zero for the wind chill. And we do sleeper houses on the lake. So once we get to the edge of the lake, we drive 14 miles. It was 14 miles out this year that we go out there, and then we stay out there for 3 days straight. So we live out of it. We sleep in there. We eat in there. We do everything in that ice house out on the lake. So it's pretty fun. I always look forward to it. It's warm inside the ice house. It's very cold going outside. So we try to stay in as much as we can, but yeah, it's a fun trip. Always love doing it.
So let me make sure I understand this. You got to the location, which is the lake, and then you drove 14 miles out into the middle of the lake.
Right. Yep. So we literally drive far enough onto the lake where we're probably 2 miles from the Canada border. So, there's probably 25 inches of ice up there this time of year, roughly. So we're driving our trucks across 25 inches of ice. We were fishing in 35 feet of water. So underneath us was 35 feet deep of water there. And we just, we stay out there and we spend 3 days out there with no showers.
How about cell reception? You got any phones out there? Do they work?
It's funny because it depends on what carrier you have. I was really the only person that had any sort of decent cell phone reception where I could make calls. In order to get internet service, I had to put my phone up in the window. If I was inside the ice house, like sitting on the bunk or sitting on a chair, I couldn't get any internet. As soon as I put it up against the window, then I would get like 1 bar of 4G. So you could somewhat function with some internet, but outside of that, no, it's kind of non-existent out there.
Which is one of the benefits of going up there, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yep.
So, guys, today we're talking about why hasn't your house sold? We've been in a primarily seller's market for the last, 2.5, 3 years, low inventory. We've got motivated buyers. Interest rates have gone up some, but I think that they're still pretty good. And there's homes out there that have been on the market a while. They've been on the market, they haven't sold, and why is that? So we'll be discussing that throughout the show today. Best way to get a hold of us, of course, is our website, ushometalk.com. Evan and Mike, I just got some changes. Marcus will be very happy about this. Just got some changes done this morning. So we've got Marcus on there at the top, of course. And then, folks, we are rebuilding a completely new website with many more features. We've got a lot of really cool stuff we're working on. Taking a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but nevertheless, we are working on it and excited for that to be launched as well. Best way to get a hold of us and everyone on our team, myself, Mike, Marcus, all of our fantastic partners, is our website, ushometalk.com. You can connect with everybody live. We've got a lot of really fantastic tools on there. So whether you're thinking about buying, selling, investing in real estate, you have questions about mortgages, pre-approvals, how to build your credit to get the best possible offers from mortgage companies. We've got contractors, attorneys, anything and everything to do with your house. We've created this kind of landing pad, this one-stop shop for all things real estate. So be sure to check out our website, minnesotahometalk.com. It also has all of our direct contact information, cell phone numbers, emails, and then, of course, our real estate hotline number, which is 612-234-7585. And that number will, it's 24-hour real estate hotline number. Will get to all of us or any of our partners as well. We can get you over to them. So we had Chris Hansen on last week with Great Homes Movers. So we appreciate the guest. This week, it looks like it's just going to be Mike and I. Marcus may be coming in later in the show. He had another obligation to attend to. Of course, we want to thank our great producer, Evan Little. Evan, although he is feeling a bit under the weather, has stepped up to the occasion. What do they say? Hell or high waters, the show is going to happen. That's Evan.
Right.
Is that your kind of your thoughts this morning?
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm wondering why you don't have your video rolling. Is it because you feel that ill that we cannot see you?
It's because I'm just covered in vomit. No, I just did not have the opportunity to present myself.
Do you got the flu? Is that what's going on? You got a little flu bug going around?
I don't know, man. It's just not good. That's all I can say.
Well, I can. Wednesday night of last week, my son Theodore, my 8-year-old son Theodore, he gets me up at about midnight, and he's like, "Oh, feel good." And so from midnight until 6 a.m. every 30 minutes, I was up with him, and he was barfing all over the place. And thankfully, he made it all into the bathroom, into the toilet. So that was good. And then my other son, Joseph, he caught the same bug on Sunday. We were out and about. We were at a restaurant actually, and Joseph, Theodore, and Tanian, my daughter Tanian, and I. And he said, my tummy hurts. And I said, well, are you starting to get a little tingling in your jaw? Are you starting to salivate a little bit? And I said, when you do, you got to head to the bathroom. And sure enough, he's barfing in the bathroom at the restaurant. So we survived.
It's always a fun time, right?
But I'll tell you what's remarkable. What's remarkable is taking care of those two, for a combined 4 days. I mean, I'm laying with them. I'm taking care of them. They're slobbering all over me, and remarkably, I never got sick. And so,
you better knock on wood, buddy. We're gonna get that email tomorrow. I should have jinxed myself.
I think I'm in the clear. I'm 1 week after exposure, and I'm still good. So, but anyway, that is sometimes what happens, and we just push through it. All right, so we're talking about why hasn't your house sold, and I've got a few things to go over here today. I've got some reasons why your home hasn't sold, and then if we have time, we may go into because this comes out of this topic. Some ways to prepare your house to sell. So some staging and preparation ideas for sellers. And then I have a third thing that we might move that to the second thing, but it's 9 neighborhood features that hamper the value. And Mike, you and I have done this bit a few times over the years, but it talks about, some things that will bring down your home's value. And there's some pretty good ones on there. So we may get to that, but let's start with why isn't your house sold? If we look at probably the number one most important thing when marketing your home, as a real estate professional, we have built a system to sell homes for the highest amount in the quickest time. We have a proven strategy on how to market and advertise our homes for the sellers that we work for. And we're in the marketing business. We're in the advertising business for the properties that we list. Our job is to sell them quickly for the most amount of money. That's typically what our seller's goal is. And we've become very good at it. I've been in the business over 20 years. My team has combined experience of over 200 years. And so we've got a lot of experience to pull from. What's your photos look like? That's going to be the first question. If a seller comes to me and says my house hasn't sold, why? What do your photos look like? Do you have high definition, professional photos of your home? Because the photos folks, that's the first thing that people see. I mean, we're a very visual culture right now. That's why Facebook and Instagram and all the reels and the videos that get so much attention. What do your photos look like? The photos are the first thing that most buyers are going to see. Do you have what's in the background of the photos? Do you have a front elevation of the house and then you've got the two garbage cans because it's garbage day? Or do you have the broken down car and the third stall that's just sitting there? Hopefully it's not up on blocks. But the photos and what's in the photos are critical. The clarity of them, are they representing what the house is? Are you showing off all the wonderful features of that home? And so the photos have to be as good as you can be. That's why we take the time and resources and capital to invest in high definition professional photos.
Yeah, you want the photos. I mean, you got to think of it that you want any buyers that are looking at your house to date your house, right? If they're going to date your house, they're going to come take a look. That's the goal, is to get them to come on a physical showing. So if I'm trying to get someone to date my house, right, obviously the photos are the first thing they're going to see. That's their first, it's almost like a dating service for your house, right? That's the first thing that they see about your house. If the pictures don't look good, they don't heart it in their search. They kind of just skip right past it. And then that's it. You really have just a few seconds to grab that buyer's attention through the photos that you have online. Once you grab their attention and they start digging into it more, great. That's the goal, is to get them to take the next step.
You want them to come and tour your home. Either call their real estate agent or call us as listing agents to come and take a look. We want to get them through the front door. And so I've worked with many expired sellers and canceled sellers over the years where they had their house listed with someone else. It didn't sell. They call us up and they say, hey, look, we'd like you to come out. We'd like you to help us sell our house. We need our house sold. Can you help? Absolutely. We go meet with them. More times than not, the photos are the first thing that I'm going to talk about and we're going to have a discussion on. Were they good photos? Did they accurately represent the great features of your home? And so photos are critically important, and it is one of the top reasons why a home hasn't sold, because the photos are just not very good. And in today's world, we have the opportunity to have many professional home photography companies out there, and so many of them do such a great job, and we got to make sure that we're taking advantage of those services that are available. Folks, best way to get hold of us anytime, of course, is our wonderful website, ushometalk.com. Find us on Facebook and YouTube. That's where we stream live every Wednesday at noon. Today, should we give away something? Got the T-Wolves looking kind of good. Let's give away a couple pair of tickets to the Timberwolves. For the best question, you can go to facebook.com in the comment section. You can ask those questions or comments. We'll take both. Or you can text those into our text number, which is 612-234-7585. That's the text line during the show. And it's also our 24-hour real estate hotline number. So anytime you have questions related to real estate, shoot us a text on that number, 612-234-7585. And then today we'll give away a couple pair of Timberwolves tickets for the best questions. Why hasn't your house sold? We talked about photos being important, and oftentimes that's one of the top reasons why it hasn't, because the photos really are not very good. Is your home overpriced? Another question we're gonna take a look at. Even in a seller's market, and we have been talking about this relentlessly for 3 years, even in a seller's market, if you overprice your home, not only are you not going to get an offer, but you're not going to get people walking through the front door. You're not going to get the showing set up. If you've got a buyer and they're looking in a $500,000 price range, and there's 6 or 7 homes that they want to go take a look at that are priced correctly, and then you have yours that's overpriced, that's what they're comparing to, folks. And so buyers in today's world, in today's real estate market, and this is nationally, they have access to more data and more information than ever before, which I think is fantastic. But it gives the buyers the opportunity to do the research, and buyers know more about homes being overpriced today than ever before. And so you have to be priced right. You cannot overprice your home, even in a seller's market.
But Jason, they can just offer less. We'll entertain offers underneath our list price.
And that's a comment I get often. I just had a conversation last week with a seller. I said, well, if we're overpriced, someone will just make an offer. No, they won't just make an offer. They're not going to offer on an overpriced home. More than likely, they're not going to offer on an overpriced home. So not only do you have to have a marketing and advertising strategy to expose your home to the most potential buyers, but you got to price it right. And today's market is very different than it was 6 months ago or 7 months ago or 8 months ago. Last spring we saw sellers and builders really pushing the values of homes, pushing the limits higher than ever before. It was a frenzy, right? I mean, these crazy multiple offers and things selling for 10% over asking. You could maybe get away with pushing that price a little bit in that market, but the market is different now. Even back then, we recommended to all of our sellers, look, price it accurately, price it to the value that it is, and we're more likely to get multiple offers. If you overprice it, you may not get any offers. And so important. If your house hasn't sold and you're looking at asking why, let's take a look at the price. Are you priced accurately? Is it the market value?
So Jason, let's also talk about pricing your home accordingly to meet search criteria. Right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So typically buyers are looking in, let's say $50,000 chunks. I'm looking for a house between 400 and 450, right? Or 450 to 500, whatever that might be. So if you have a home listed at, let's say 409, right? 409, any buyer that's looking up to 400,000 is not going to see your house, right? Or if you got buyers looking between 400 and 450, you got yours priced at 409. Now they're comparing a 409 house to other houses that might be at 449, right? So now you might not look as good compared to those 449 priced houses because maybe they have another bedroom or they may have more finished square feet or something like that. But maybe comment on the pricing blocks and the search criteria that people use, and then pricing accordingly based on that info.
Yeah, it's so important. And so if you're looking at home prices up to probably, I don't know, I'd say 300,000, buyers are generally looking in those $25,000 increments. So they're looking up to 250 and maybe 275 and 300. I think once you get to about 400,000, maybe 500,000, then they're going to start looking in $50,000 increments. But let's say the home's value, for example, is, let's say that the CMA and it comped out at 409, right? And so you have a much higher likelihood of getting more than 409 if you're pricing it even a little bit less. So let's say in this example, 400. Now, what are you doing? You're capturing all the buyers that are looking up to 400. You've got, and we have that, I'll see that all the time, or I'll see a house priced at, 403 or 404. And I look at it and I say, why you're missing out on all those buyers looking up to that price point? Because rarely are buyers looking up to 410 or 415. It's 400, 425, 450, 475. Another thing that I see agents doing is, and this is pretty common across the agent world, this example in this house, they're going to price it at $399.9, because they think that, I don't know what they think, that because it's below 400, it's more attractive. Nobody looks up to $399.900. So they look up to 400, right? Buyers also will start at 400. And so they're going to look from 400 to maybe 550. If you have your house priced at $399,900, you're going to miss out on all those buyers that are looking from 4 to 550. And so, we take a look at those things. This is stuff, folks, that we've learned over the years through trial and error and experience. How do buyers search? What are they? How are they setting up their search criteria? We want to make sure that we get maximum exposure and that we present your property to the most potential buyers.
Yeah, those are great points. I mean, you're talking some major numbers. A house priced at 409 versus 400. catching the buyers on both sides, right? Underneath 400, up to 400, or 400 to 450, whatever that is. I mean, you're talking 600, 700, 800 potential buyers you're missing out on in some of the cases that we've seen. I mean, imagine what it looks like to sell your house if you had another 800 people looking and viewing at your house.
Right.
I mean, what are the chances of you getting more offers or into a multiple offer situation? Now competitive buyer juices kick in, right? It's like, oh, the wife really likes that house. She's saying to the husband, we got to do whatever it takes to get this house. And so then it's like, well, hey, agent, how high do we go on this thing? Well, it's listed at 400. Maybe you offer 420 for it, right? So it's listed at, 400, you're getting 20 grand more just because you got all those extra eyes on it. So it's a pretty big deal to get it priced right to meet those search criteria. And again, to your point, Jason, it's the experience and the history, it's the analytics that we've looked at for years and years and years that has kind of given us an advantage when it comes to that aspect.
I think so. And when those agents, when I'm the listing agent, those agents call me and they say, hey, you know what, got a buyer that's really interested, do you have any other offers? If they start asking questions, I'll let them know. I'll say, hey, we're priced at 400 because we wanted to make sure that we captured all of the interested buyers that are looking up to 400, but we comped out at 410. So, and I'll share that CMA with the other agents. So, so it gives us the ability to, again, capture both ends of the spectrum, both buyer pools, and giving our sellers the best chance and the highest likelihood of receiving the most amount of money. So, why else hasn't your house sold? Well, one reason maybe because it's invisible. You can't see the details of the house, right? And so on our MLS, there's a rule where you have to have one photo. We can have up to, I don't know what it is now, like 75. I mean, it's a lot of photos. We can have, it used to be 25, but now it's 75. There's agents that will still list that house and they'll put one photo. They'll put one photo of the house, and it's not even a very good photo, but nobody can see the house, or the information in the listing is incomplete. One of the things that we like to do is we like to, on each photo, give some subject information below it. What are we looking at? Do you have all the information? Do you have the public remarks and the agent remarks filled out? Are you talking about all of the features, all of the amenities of that house? And are you sharing that with potential buyers? So whether or not your home is invisible or has limited information about it, that can be one of the reasons why your house hasn't sold. What else we got here, folks? Well, if your house hasn't sold, this is going to come into play. It's because the listing is tired, or it's stale. It's been on the market for too long. Mike, as you know, the longer a home stays on the market, the more questions I have it all the time. Buyers ask me, if it's been on the market X amount of days, what's wrong with the house?
What's wrong with it? It's got to be something wrong with it. That's why it hasn't sold yet.
Why hasn't it sold? It seems to be priced right. Why hasn't it sold? And so if it's stale or tired, or if it's just been out there too long, it's time to reset and refresh that. Maybe we're going to relist it. We're going to bring in new photos and a new marketing plan with updated, fresh photos and marketing material. But if it's stale or if it's been sitting there a long time, that can be one of the reasons why it hasn't sold. So last year, Mike, I think you and I saw more cash offers than any other year, probably ever. In fact, probably more cash offers last year than the previous 5 years combined.
I would say so, yes. The
access and availability to cash in 2022 was remarkable. And but even in today's market, 2/3 of all buyers are still finance buyers, right? And so if your house hasn't sold, maybe it's because it won't appraise. And so this ties a little bit back into if you're overpriced. But even if you have a buyer that comes in and let's say you price it right, you priced it correctly, but you got multiple offers and now you got a price way above the asking price. The question you have to ask is, will it appraise? And is the offer that you have on the table, is it contingent upon the financing? If it's contingent on the financing, it's contingent upon the appraisal. the property appraising for the agreed upon price. If it doesn't appraise, then either the seller has to reduce the price to the appraisal, or the buyer has to bring in the difference in cash, or, which the third is usually what happens, buyer and seller share that burden. So, but that might be one of the reasons why your property hasn't sold, because it won't appraise. And we see this sometimes in some of the luxury homes that we've looked at over the years. Maybe you're an hour out of the cities and you've got this big, beautiful, gorgeous house. It's on acreage. It's got everything you could ever want, built with the highest quality material. The cost to rebuild it is at or above the list price, but there's no comps. There's no comps, so it won't appraise. What do you do in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. So, we grew up in a small town, in southwestern Minnesota, about 4,500 people. Had a conversation with this. There's a doctor that was out there that wanted to build $1 million house. And I was like, sounds great. Let's do it. Like, you got 500 grand to put down? Well, why do I need to put that much down? Well, because I reached out to the local appraiser out there. An appraiser said, Mike, the highest sale in the entire county in the last 5 years was like $533,000, right? So your highest comparable home is $533,000. So the market is saying there might not be anyone else out there besides you, Mr. Doctor, that can afford $1 million house. And so if you have to put this thing on the market and sell it because of some sort of, accident or something like that, where it comes up where you have to basically get rid of it or foreclose on it, there's no other comparables out there to say that anyone could afford $1 million. There's one other person that could afford a $533,000 house. So that's your comparable right there. So, we'll give you a value of 533 on this thing, and then you got to make up the difference.
It's a big difference in this case.
Right. So that's the type of mindset that lenders have, is like, they always look at worst case scenario, right? What happens if we have to take this back in foreclosure? Realistically, what could we sell that house for? That's why an appraisal is out there, because an appraisal is going to show, realistically, then what does the market bear for that type of property? What could it sell for? And then they run their numbers off of that. So if you go way over list price, or if in your case, Jason, let's even just say you built a new construction house out there, if it doesn't appraise for how much you're into it, you're making up that difference out of your pocket.
Yeah, that's got to be cash you got to bring to the table. Why hasn't your house sold? What are the available showing times? Okay, and so when we meet with sellers, we let them know, look, the more available your home is to show, the more buyers we're going to get through your home. I've showed homes over the years, folks, where I go into Showing Time, which is our online showing service, and there's 1 hour on Wednesday between
only the first Tuesday of the month.
Thursday between 1 and 2. Saturday, though, is available between 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. And then maybe Mondays between 5 and 5:15. But you can't restrict the showing times if at all possible. Buyers will call up their agents. Sometimes I have buyers call me up in the morning and say, Jason, I want to look at this house this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Great, let's get you in there. Or they call up the night before, hey, can I look at this tomorrow morning? Yeah, great, let's get you in there. It's such a challenge for buyers because we all have crazy schedules, right? And buyers oftentimes last minute, they want to take a look at your house, or a buyer will send me a list of, say, 7 homes they want to look at. So I'll pull up all 7 homes and I'll start organizing it. Buyers say, yep, I'm available Friday at noon to go look at properties. Great. Start organizing, putting them all in order, what we're going to go take a look at first. And then one of the 7 says, oh, no, can't look at this house till 6 o'clock on Friday. Guess what? We're probably not going to look at it. We're probably not going to look at it unless it's a house that's so spectacular that the buyers want to come back later in the evening. But most buyers aren't like that. They've got a schedule. They've got a window of when they can look at homes. And if you have restricted showing hours, if you're a seller and you have restricted showing hours, that can really hurt the sale, and that might be why it hasn't sold.
That's a great point. I mean, just think of that. Just think of anyone who's got kids schedules, school, sporting events, all that stuff. Any buyers that have kids, they're just definitely tight on time, you know. And so convenience is definitely a big factor when it comes to that. Sellers, you know, they have kids and schedules and stuff too. So it can get complicated. There's a lot of moving parts on that. But as a seller in general, the more flexible you can be, letting buyers in there, the greater the chance you have of getting the highest price for your home.
Yeah. If you have to have showing restrictions as a seller, I would recommend to try to block them in a couple full days, you know, and so maybe your home is available all day Friday and all day Saturday, you know, so that you're capturing the weekday folks and then you're also capturing the weekend folks. But just do your best as a seller to be as flexible as you can for the showings. Look, you want to sell your house. We're putting it on the open market. You got to have it available for people to look at. So, and then lastly, and this certainly pertains to this time in Minnesota, what's the temperature at in your house or the house that you're trying to sell? We used to see this back in 07, 08, 09 when we had a lot of foreclosures and short sales on the market. Heat was off, water's off, power's off. But when you walk into a home, when my buyers and I are walking into a house, the temperature of that home is incredibly important. And so in the winter, you got to have the heat on, folks. And I'm not talking set it at 50 degrees because you're out of town. I mean, it's got to be comfortable. If it's not comfortable, you're going to distract the buyers from doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is looking at your home. They're going to be thinking about it's too cold. Same thing goes in the summer. If you don't have the AC on and it's 89 degrees in the house and you're walking through and you're sweating all over the place, it's hard for them to imagine living in that home or that home being theirs when they're thinking about either how hot or cold it is. So, folks, these are just some reasons why your house may not have sold. Why hasn't it sold? Here's some good reasons.
Here's another one too, kind of going along that area, right? Of you want people to go in there, you want them to envision themselves living there, right? So if it's too cold, that leaves an impression on them. If it's a summertime and it's just scorching hot in there, that's going to leave an impression on them. Another thing too that can come up is, what does it smell like?
Oh, yes.
You know, so walk into a house and having a weird smell, whether it's some sort of pet smell, some urine smell, cooking, you know, probably don't want to cook a bunch of eggs and steam a bunch of broccoli before someone comes in, you know, so you gotta remember that too. You know, the smell aspect of it also comes into play when we're talking about making sure that the people that come on a showing your house are comfortable in the house and they can envision themselves living there.
Yes. Is your house clean? You know, and I'm not talking about just, you know, quick broom swept clean. I'm talking, is it deep clean? You got to do a deep clean on the house. It's got to be clean. People have to feel comfortable when they're walking through. Do you have the shades and the blinds up? That's so important. You got to get some natural light in there. I mean, if you go into a house, all the blinds are drawn. It's dark and dreary. Certainly this time in Minnesota, we have limited hours of daylight, right? And so how does it feel? How does it smell? What's the temperature? These are all things that are really important when preparing your house to sell. And if you've neglected some of those things, it may be a reason why it hasn't sold. Folks, best way to get a hold of us anytime, of course, is our website, ushometalk.com. We've got a real estate hotline number, which is 612-234-7585. You can call, text 24 hours a day to that number. We got a couple pair of Tim Rose tickets to give away. We'll let those questions and comments come in throughout the day, and then we'll get those sent out. So I think I'll probably wait till next week with a couple other things, but I do want to real quick, Mike, just go over stats because we talked about it a couple weeks ago. The current market stats in the Twin Cities metro area: inventory of homes for sale, 6,083. A year ago, we were at 5,027, so that's up 21% from this time last year.
Now, a caveat to that, we kind of laugh, right? Because it's like, oh, inventory's up from last year. 6,000 homes is almost nothing, right? It's so low. Last year, we're 5,000 homes at this point. the lowest we've ever seen, which was crazy, right? So yeah, we're up compared to last year, but you got to remember 6,000 homes is so low. A balanced market in the Twin Cities metro area here where we're at is like around 18,000 homes.
Yeah, 18 to 20.
I mean, 18 to 20,000. I mean, we've barely been over 10,000 homes for listings in the last like 7-8 years.
Yes.
I mean, we've probably been over 10,000 listings maybe a couple times in the last handful of years. So it's still low inventory. The supply is still low.
Very low, and that's not going to change, folks. We do not have a flood of homes coming on the market this year. It's probably going to take a decade to get back to 18 to 20,000 homes for sale. There was a period in the United States between 2000, was it 2010 and 2020, or 2000 and 2010?
So from 2010
to
to 2020.
Yep.
Right.
80% less homes built in the United States.
80% less homes, new construction homes built.
Yep.
Exactly.
That is a big contributor, the main contributor why inventory is so low. Pending home sales in the last 3 months, 7,800. A year ago, 11,598. So pending home sales in the last 3 months are down 32%. Median sale price is 348. A year ago, we were at 331. So the median sale price is up 5.1%. Affordability index is at 102. A year ago, we were at 143. So that's down about 30%. Homes per buyer, Mike, you just mentioned this, 1.4. 1.4 homes per buyer out there right now. Last year was 0.9. So last year didn't even get a whole house. So I guess that's better, but still just not much inventory. Days on market. This is the highest that I've seen it. I don't remember the last time I saw this high. Current days on market is 50. The current days on market is 50. Last month it was at 40. The previous month it was at 32. So things are taking a little bit longer to sell. Last year at this time it was 34. And so it's taken about 47% longer this year from this time last year to sell your home. Average sale price is 96.3. A year ago, we were at 99.5. That's a difference of 3.2%. So what does that mean? Might mean your closing costs. Might mean that your sellers are willing to pay your closing costs if you're a buyer, because homes are selling for 96.3% of asking price. So just the stats. I know we haven't gone over them in a probably 5 or 6 weeks. So I wanted to bring those to the table. Folks, best way to get a hold of us is our website, Minnesota Home Talk. Nope, US Home. It goes the same place. US Home Talk. We've been saying Minnesota Home Talk for 13 years.
It's ingrained. 14 years of Minnesota.
I'm actually surprised that's my first slip on that.
I catch myself all the time doing it.
You definitely said Minnesota Home Talk when you were talking about the new website at the beginning a couple times too. Yeah.
All right. Well, just to be clear, it all goes to the same spot right now. So I just want to say it. USHometalk.com. Our real estate hotline number is 612-234-7585. We appreciate everyone tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.